potatoes. Hopefully I'm in the shot here. Yes, I am, barely. Wow, how great is that? Should I fix it? Nah, let's just keep going. All right, so we're gonna talk about our content statement 6, which means nothing to you. But the whole idea of this standard is that there were Federalists and Anti-Federalists who argued over whether or not we were going to adopt or ratify the Constitution. Now, we have a little bit of an activity today that we're going to do, and it's going to start with this sheet. It's a card sort. You may or may not be able to see it. It's on your Google Classroom, but I'm going to try to get you paper copies as well. Because we are going to cut each individual square out. And now if you look, these squares do not match the other side. So let's see, like on this side we have a term, and on this side we have a definition. This term right here does not match this definition. They're all mixed up through here. And so we're gonna cut them out and put them in order. But luckily, Mr. Kretz has some notes to go along with it. Are we clear? All right, let's start by cutting out all of these. Ready, set, cut them out. All right, guys, this is how it should be. If you see, I got all my cutout terms laid off over here. And then I set up my sheet, term, definition, or match. So as we go through these, as you listen to my notes, you're gonna fill in whatever goes over here with the term, and then match it over here with the definition. Okay, whoops, how's it changed out of focus? This might be tough, but we can do it. Now listen to the notes, and let's knock it out. And please, pause it if you haven't and set it up like this, where everything's organized and that's all ready. All right, back at the old-fashioned presentation. Now, I'm gonna have you pause it every so often and make sure you get it all right with your team. So for this first one, we're only gonna do our vocab words. These are not the actual pieces of information that tie together. And if you don't know the vocabulary, it's gonna be very hard to understand what this is all about. So let's nail the vocabulary, let's nail those words that we don't know so that we can get it right. The first word we're gonna talk about is Federalists. Federalists are people that supported the ratification of the Constitution, okay? So if I were you, I would find Federalists and put it here, and then look through all your terms and find the one that says people that supported the ratification of the Constitution. Our next term is U.S. Constitution. Find that little card or little piece of paper, put it where it belongs, and then the definition. The document that lists the powers of each branch of the U.S. government. The document that lists the powers of each branch of the U.S. government. Find your match. Anti-Federalists. The Anti-Federalists are people against the ratification of the Constitution. The Anti-Federalists, people against the ratification of the Constitution. Find your card, put the match. And the last term I have is ratification. So as I look through for ratification, found it. Gotta get it out of here. I put ratification down in my spot. And then I need to find the term. It's approval by a formal vote. Ratification is approval by a formal vote. And so you find that definition and match it over here. All right, pause the video. Let's make sure we got all our matches. And then I want you to stop and compare it with a neighbor, or maybe just do it on your own. I'll tell you more, and then we'll move on. All right, next, now that we're ready, I've got a little bit of a, statement for you, an overall statement. And I'm gonna read it, it's 2 sentences. Half the sentence you need to find here, the other half of the sentence you need to find over here, okay? You need to put one half of the sentence on your term side, one half on the definition or match side. So, I wrote, As the essays were published, Americans read the debate over the 5 basic principles. Period. That's your first sentence. I'm going to say that again. As the essays were published, Americans read the debate over the 5 basic principles. Our second sentence. These essays are a great source of information for studying how the Federalists wanted the government to operate. And again, this goes back, history, what they intended. These essays are a great source of information for studying how the Federalists wanted the government to operate. Now, for a second, I want you to pause the video, take those things, put them in your words, and then you can compare with a neighbor again or ask me, and you need to find the match and the term from here, put it in the chart, and match it over here. I'll read the whole thing again. As the essays were published, Americans read the debate over the 5 basic principles. These essays are a great source of information for studying how the Federalists wanted the government to operate. Pause it, talk it, match it. Don't do that because it's going to be really hard to do this exercise if you don't keep all of them on your table. And again, this is very important that we get this. All right. Now this next part is where it really matters. We're going to talk about what the Federalists argued for. And then we're going to talk about what the Anti-Federalists argued for. And so we're going to make a little bit of a chart. We're going to make this separate over here. So ignore the term and definition right now. We can make this separate. We will eventually put this in the terms and definitions, but we need to make it separate. So, the Federalists argued for, I found that card, I'm sorting it aside, constitutional ratification. The Federalists argued for the supremacy of the national government. The Federalists argued for more powers to be given to the national government to address weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation. And the Federalists argued for the necessary and proper and supremacy clauses. There are 4 matches. You're going to have one half of the statement on one side and the other half on the next. I will read all the Federalist arguments again, and after I do so, pause the video. Federalists argued for constitutional ratification, for the supremacy of the national government, for more powers to be given to the national government to address weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation, and for the necessary and proper and supremacy clauses. Pause the video, match them up, talk about it. Go. Next, now that you've paused it, the Anti-Federalists. We're going to do the same thing. The Anti-Federalists. The Anti-Federalists argued against constitutional ratification. The Anti-Federalists argued for supremacy of the state governments. The Anti-Federalists argued for the need of a national Bill of Rights to protect citizens from the powers of the national government. And the Anti-Federalists argued against the necessary and proper and supremacy clauses. I will read those all again to you. Once you're done, pause it and match them. Anti-Federalists argued against constitutional ratification, for supremacy of the state governments, for the need of a national Bill of Rights to protect citizens from the powers of the national government, and against the necessary and proper and supremacy clauses. Now, that's not all. You should pause, match them up. Do it. Now we're back. These arguments are key. It wasn't as cut and dry as everyone wanting the Constitution. And lastly, when it does get ratified, as a matter of fact, the Constitution does get ratified. The Constitution was ratified, and the Federalists basically won. However, the Anti-Federalists achieved a little bit of a compromise because they got a Bill of Rights added to the Constitution. And these Bill of Rights are 10 rights that are guaranteed to individuals, kind of regardless of what the government does. Ultimate protections for the individual. I might have one empty card. It's up to you to find. I don't know if I missed one or what. Maybe they're all there. Who knows? And then lastly, I have another bonus card, the elastic clause. You might have 2 left by now. You need to match the elastic clause for its other name, the elastic clause. Do whatever's necessary and proper to match the elastic clause to its hidden term. I hope you figured that hint out. If you don't figure that hint out, do I need a wink better? I hope you do whatever is necessary and proper to match the elastic clause to its name, or also known as name. All right, now that's it. I have a Quizlet that you're done. You can go and study it, and you know, the game's a coming. May the odds be ever in your favor.